Hello loves, it's Amanda Stanley with day 5 of our February Lovin series. And as you can see, I have gone back into my cozy sweatshirt. I'm still red, I'm still have all the love colors on, but sometimes it's just nice to be all cozied up in a sweatshirt, especially when there's more snow coming down after 3 feet. We were still coming with more over here in the New Hampshire seacoast. So anyhow, side note there. So we've been talking a lot about love, how to give and receive more love, and we've been focusing a little bit more on sort of our energy, our environment, just the intention of bringing love and sending love out. But today we're going to talk a little bit more about the physical heart and the physical logistics of supporting the heart and supporting that really amazing organ that we have that's pumping blood through our entire system, is really supporting so much, really all of our body's functioning. Of course, every organ has its important place in our physiology, but the heart is literally the muscle that just doesn't stop working ever. If it did, that would be the end of us. So the heart is so important to support, not just in a physical way, but also in an emotional way. In the way that I practice herbal medicine, it's from an energetic, emotional, spiritual, and physical standpoint, so that we're not looking at just the physical makeup, but also the emotional components of every area of imbalance and of every area in the body. So when we think about the heart, or the heart chakra, which is the energy right in our chest, it is all about, of course, being open to the abundance of love that's around us, to be able to give and receive love freely. And because of lots of different life experiences, some traumatic, some really wonderful and bliss-filled, our hearts literally process these experiences through emotions. The heart itself, and you can look this up, emits and transmits electromagnetic waves. So it actually has the same kind of neurons within it that our brains do to actually process and receive memory and to store memory. So it's a really amazing thing to think about how our heart is actually an incredible organ of perception and perceiving the world around us. In any and all experiences and traumas and whatnot, it goes through our heart first and then gets connected straight to our brain. There's a really beautiful book called, oh my goodness, I'm going to forget it now. It's by Stephen Herod Buhner, and he's an amazing herbalist, and it's called The Heart as a Direct Perception, or a direct, an organ of perception. I'll send a link to you. Of course, I'm spacing out on the video, but it's an awesome book, and it talks exactly about what I'm trying to explain to you, which is the heart not only as this really amazing powerhouse of muscle pumping blood through our bodies, but that it does store memory, it does transmit electromagnetic waves for receiving and storing energy and memory, and it's a really powerful thing. So I want to talk to you about a few of my favorite herbs that are supportive to heart function on its energetic and emotional as well as physical well-being and standpoint. So when I talk about herbs, typically the way that I prefer to use them, and I encourage people to use them the most, is in its whole form, meaning the entirety of whatever part of the plant you're using, whether it's the berry, whether it's the leaf or the flower. But we're not talking about single constituents extracted out of plants. There are companies that do that and standardize herbs. I work with them in a whole form. I also promote the use of teas or syrups or tinctures, which is a liquid extract of the herb. I'm not a huge fan of capsules. And the reason for that is because we need to taste our medicine in order for it to work properly in our bodies, and we can't taste a capsule. And not only that, but the capsules do take longer to get absorbed because it has to break down the gelatin capsule or whatnot, and then our bodies or our stomachs take it in and break it down, and then it gets absorbed into our, hopefully, small intestines and then into our bloodstream. The other problem about capsules is that you don't really know how long that dried herb has been hanging out in the capsule and how long that bottle of capsules has been on the shelf. So it's just, the shelf life I don't find is really awesome or as potent. the great thing about tinctures, which are typically either in glycerin or alcohol, or sometimes even vinegars, depending. You can extract them in lots of different ways, but more often than not it's in alcohol, and that is because when we take a dropper full, say, of dandelion root tincture underneath our tongues, which, yes, it's quite a flavor. Many tinctures are not delicious, but what's great about them is that we get that shot of, in this instance, dandelion's bitter. The bitter flavor sends a message to our bodies of what it's receiving and how it can process it and how it can assimilate it and allow it to work right away. So that tincture gets absorbed right into the bloodstream. It doesn't have to get broken down or digested any other way. It's boom, it's really fast acting. So tinctures are really fantastic for acute conditions. And then of course teas. Teas are a gentle form, more so for chronic conditions, but it's allowing you to hydrate as well as absorb the medicine within the water. Same thing as syrup. Syrups are a step above teas, where they're a little bit more potent, but we add sweetener to them. And they're kind of like heavy duty tea if you want. So there's a lot more viably available to us, and it's in liquid form. We just have to swallow it. Again, nothing to break down. Our bodies start absorbing it and utilizing it right away. So those are the 3 forms that I like to encourage people to use internally for herbs the most. That being said, not all herbs are delicious, but they all are really important to experience the flavor of them, because again, the flavor is what communicates to our body what it needs and what it's receiving and how to use it properly. So let me talk about the herbs I want to introduce you to. One of them is hawthorn. Hawthorn berry, leaf, and flower are all incredibly potent healers for the heart on a physical plane. It really helps to strengthen the heart muscle, strengthen, all of our vasculature, so all of our veins and arteries. And it's also wonderful for lowering blood pressure and calming any sort of spasms that might be going on in the body as well. Now, although, scientific research on herbs is usually here or there, there isn't a lot of consistency in the world because tests are expensive, and sometimes it depends on who's doing the testing that will get one outcome or another. So there are a lot of testing going on out there. The one that hasn't been done on hawthorn is the fact that, at least in study and in practice, it is known to have had the ability to literally break down and carve out buildup of cholesterol within the arteries, within the heart walls, and flush it out from the system. So that's a pretty amazing thing. It hasn't been 100% third-party tested yet, but it is what seems to be happening with a lot of the clients that use it and within herbal practice in general. So that's a pretty cool component of hawthorn. And the berries are incredibly delicious. They can be made into jams or tinctures or teas or whatnot. They're really, really nice. Linden, which is a tree, it's the flower and the little helicopters that sometimes fly off the little seed pods, if you will, of trees. Linden has that same little flyaway helicopter seed pod, and that is also part of the medicine that is used from linden. And again, linden is not necessarily specific to the heart, although it works really hand in hand because it is hypotensive, so it does help to lower blood pressure. It's a nervous system herb, so it helps to calm you down. And that's really, when it comes to high blood pressure, when it comes to any spasms going on in the heart, any sort of acute condition going on in the heart, the nerves need to be nourished. And a lot of times when people have high blood pressure, their stress levels are usually through the roof. So when you're serving the nervous system, you're serving the heart as well, on top of offering the hypotensive action, the blood pressure lowering action that linden also has. So it's a really awesome combination to add in with hawthorn. Then there's yarrow. Yarrow is another wonderful herb. It actually helps to balance the blood out. In practice and study, that yarrow actually acts as a blood thinning or a blood thickening agent, depending on what your blood needs. And that's what's really cool about herbs. A lot of them can really tune into your body and figure out what it is that you need from this herb, not this general purpose, but what it can offer you. So it's really wonderful as an other option to taking aspirin if you do tend to have high blood pressure, to thin it out. It's a really wonderful aid for any trauma going on in the body. If you've bruised yourself, if you've broken a bone, it helps to flush out clotted blood. It's also a lovely antispasmodic. So again, any nervous spasms going on in your body, any palpitations going on in your body, musculature, heart-wise, really any sort of spasm, it will relax it. It's a great antiviral. It's a great anti-inflammatory. Often with heart conditions, there's inflammation going on within the whole cardiovascular system and sometimes systemically. So it's a really valuable tool to have on board for heart health. And then, of course, motherwort is one of my favorites. Motherwort, actually, and yarrow, and linden, and hawthorn all grow around the New England area and other places too. I don't have them all memorized, but at least I know they grow around here on the New Hampshire seacoast, which is always really cool to use local medicine. But motherwort is one of my favorites because it's not super duper well known for heart support, but it really, really, truly is. Again, it is hypotensive, it's an antispasmodic, and it's really specific to calming heart palpitations. So whether you have a disorder that you were born with, that your heart just sometimes skips a beat, or it has an arrhythmia of some sort, it can really help to balance that out. Women who often go through menopause sometimes will have heart palpitations. Again, it'll help with that. And for people who are just really high blood pressure, like high energy, just really chaotic, sort of high tension kind of personality where they're just always on edge, motherwort is truly your friend, especially in those acute conditions and situations where you just need a moment to just ground yourself, calm that heartbeat down, and kind of reassess the situation and move out of that stressful situation. Motherwort is amazing for it. The thing with motherwort, though, is aside from the other herbs that we've already talked about, it's probably the least tasty one. That's because it's really bitter, which makes it really supportive for the liver, which is amazing, but it's not yummy to eat. So I suggest tincture form only. That way you can shoot it, chug some water, and be done with it. But it's an amazing, amazing, amazing ally to have. And it's also very balancing for women's cycles of all kinds. So women who take motherwort throughout their lives, it can help ease them through all of their cycles in a really gentle, balanced way, which is pretty fantastic. Chamomile and rose, I always love to add into any heart blends, and that is because they're just so calming and so loving in nature, and they taste delicious. Chamomile is another anti-inflammatory and antispasmodic, which again are usually issues that are related to heart conditions as well. And then rose is what's known as a tridoshic herb in Ayurveda, meaning it balances out any different body type. We all have different body types or different doshas, and rose is tridoshic, so it serves everybody. And it has all the 6 flavors that require balance in our bodies as well, which is pretty cool that all those flavors, sweet, salty, sour, astringent, bitter, pungent, are all found in rose. And again, if you ever just chew on a rose petal, fresh or dry, you just kind of have to sit and wait for those flavors to emerge, but they are all really there, and it's pretty cool. So it's very balancing, very settling and gentle for the actual physical heart, but also toning to the I meant to say balancing to the emotional heart, but toning for the physical heart as well. So I'm going to send you a recipe today to make a heart toning and supportive syrup with some of these herbal allies we talk about. I'm also going to introduce you into a breast oil for breast massage, and I should really say chest massage because that's for men or women. It's really important to massage really our entire body on a daily basis. I know it sounds like a lot, but there's so much going on our skin alone. But our breast area, our chest area, there's so many lymph nodes, especially under here in our armpits, along the sides of our chest, up around breasts in particular for women. There's so many nooks and crannies of lymph, and often toxins and waste products will get stuck there. And so when we massage, when we help things to move, when we just give this area, this heart center, some love, it just really pours out into the rest of the body. And it's really, really important, especially for women, especially for preventative measures of just breast health in general. And also to to kind of negate gravity a little bit and reverse gravity, it really does help. There's breast massage that actually helps to lift and tone breast tissue as well. So that's always a plus, ladies. And then I would like to talk briefly about flower essences and give you guys a couple links to check out. I am going to include one of my favorite heart-loving, balancing, grounding, and supporting blends of flower essence blend in the herbal package, the herbal giveaway I'm offering you guys to whomever wins it at the end of the series. But I'm going to throw in one of my favorite flower essence blends. But flower essences are specifically around the emotional component of health. So they are specific to balancing and grounding emotional states and to help to shift and transition in and out of ones that may or may not be serving you, depending on which flower essence you are working with. And they're really profound tools for health and healing. And so I love working with them very much, and I think it's a really important piece for heart health. Some of my favorites are just obviously rose, but foxglove, yarrow again, particularly pink yarrow, even apophyllite, which is not a flower essence but a crystal essence, that is really cool stuff. I'll give you details about them later on in this email here. But the thing that's so beautiful about flower essences is that because they're so powerful yet subtle, gentle remedies, there's no wrong way to use them. You could drink a whole bottle of flower essence and you'd be fine. It's very energetic in the way that it works, similar to homeopathy. So you can use them on your skin, you can drop them in a bath, you can take them in tea under your tongue, added to one of your smudge sprays, which we've kind of already talked a little bit about without going into flower essences earlier in the series. But flower essences are so awesome. They're so supportive in so many different ways. I'll be sending you links to check out ones that are specific to heart support as well. And then, after you've looked at all that good stuff and hopefully set some time aside to maybe make some breast oil for yourself or that delicious heart supportive syrup, I would like you to ponder who you'd like to dedicate a song to. Yes, you've always heard, at least if you're in this area, and I'm not sure, I'm so bad with radio waves and where they're broadcasted, like how far out they are, but if you live in the area that I live, there's a John Tesh and Delilah show out on the radio, and I can't remember exactly what radio station they are, but I'll look them up and I'll have links for you. But I want you to dedicate a song to someone. How fun is that? I used to do this when I was in high school for my friends. But it still exists. It still exists outside of the MP3 and iPod world and YouTube world. It still exists. Regular radio can still happen. People can still tune in. So I want you to think of a really great song. Think of the person first, then think of what song you want to dedicate them. And then make sure that you somehow think of something really crafty to get these people to listen to the radio. Maybe it's their favorite singer-songwriter is going to be interviewed that night, or maybe this broadcast of a special sports event is going to be, live on that radio show that night. Give them the time, and then call the radio station up. Hopefully you can, I think you can request time segments, or at least get a guesstimate on when they'll be playing the song, so you can call your friend up and then request your song, and then let it all unfold. And I think your friend will be delighted, if not just get a good laugh out of it, because those two radio stations are pretty funny. So I would like you to do that for your Giving Love Back Out segment of homework for today's piece. And I know that was a lot to absorb, me rambling here. It's what happens when I get talking about herbs. So I love it so much, and thank you so much for wanting to be open to hear it so I can share it with you. It's powerful stuff, and I hope you'll play with it. I hope you'll check out the recipes. I'll have everything detailed in the email below, so if you have any questions about it, please just never hesitate to contact me. Please let me know how all your other concoctions and self-pampering and love notes and all those things are going. I love hearing from you. And bright blessings, love-filled day to you, and I will see you tomorrow.